Want to make sure your e-bike is as comfy as possible? Then this video is for you. So, in no particular order, here are our top 5 tips for setting up your e-bike for comfort. And if you have any tips of your own, then don't forget to leave those down in the comments below. When it comes to tires, there are 2 things you can do to make them more comfortable. Number 1, not pump them up too hard. And number 2, go for a wider set. Having your tires too hard means they're less able to deform over the lumps and bumps in the road, which sends shockwaves straight through your bike to your hands. As you'd expect, this can sometimes make for a rattly and uncomfortable ride. So make sure your tires aren't too hard. The PSI written on the sidewall of the tire is a good place to start, and you'd be surprised how low you can actually go to improve your comfort. We'd recommend starting in the middle of the range and experimenting from there to find your sweet spot. Lighter riders can usually get away with a lower PSI. If only one number is given, remember that's the maximum PSI for that tire, and you may find it fairly uncomfortable. Again, try out different tire pressures to see what works for you. Wider tires obviously have more air in them, so will provide more shock absorption than a narrow tire. If you decide to change the size tire on your bike, remember, there is a limit to how wide you can go. This is determined by your front forks and rear stays. If you're unsure what this is for your bike, you can ask one of our staff in store. It's worth noting that if you go for a wider tire, don't make the mistake of pumping them up to the same PSI as your more narrow tire, as this will likely feel too hard. A basic rule of thumb is, the wider your tire, the less air pressure you'll need. So don't forget to experiment and adjust accordingly if you make the switch. A lot has been said about bike fits, and we don't have time to go into it now. But what we can say is that even if you have the right size bike, if it's not set up correctly, it can still cause you discomfort. Prime culprits are having your saddle too high or too low, tilted up or tilted down, or slid too far forward or too far back. All of these things can cause you discomfort on your bike. But fear not, a few simple things can get you 90% of the way there. Okay, to start off with, we want to make sure your saddle is level. Some may prefer a very slight tilt, a degree or 2 forward, but this is best left to a professional. To do this, all you need is a spirit level or a level app on your phone. Just make sure your bike is on a flat surface when you check it. Now onto your saddle height. Some signs that your saddle is too high is your hips rocking when you pedal. However, most people have their saddle too low, and this can cause problems for your knees. So there's a simple way to find the right saddle height, and I'll just demo that to you now. So when you do this, make sure to wear the shoes you'd normally wear when you ride. Get the pedal at a 6 o'clock position and put your heel on it. Now you can see I have quite a bend in my knee. My saddle is too low. Alright, so I've raised the saddle up a little bit. Let's see if it did the trick. Now you can see my leg is still a touch bent. That's what you want. You don't want your knee locked out. So then when you put your foot on the pedal as you pedal, you've got the right amount of bend. We're all different, so you may still need to make some adjustments. Just remember to keep them small, because a millimeter here and there is a lot to your bike and your body. So those are some of the things I've learned in my years of endurance riding and over 30,000 miles on various bikes. But the number 1 tip I have for you is not to ignore those niggles and hope they'll just go away. Seek professional help. When it comes to saddles, there's no one-size-fits-all solution. What feels like a cloud to one person might feel like a bed of nails to another. And there's different saddles out there for different ride styles, from mountain biking to upright city riding to racing. But before we go any further, it's worth noting that saddle discomfort can stem from incorrect saddle height or tilt, so it's worth getting those right before buying a whole new saddle. It's also normal for your sit bones to be a little tender if you're new to riding. This is just your body adjusting to being on the bike, but this will pass. However, if you've been riding for a while and your bike is correctly set up and your saddle still doesn't feel quite right, it may be time to try a new model. One thing you want to look out for is the width of your saddle as compared to the width of your sit bones. It's for this reason that saddles come in many sizes. Having your sit bones properly supported will go a long way to making sure you're comfortable. The amount of padding largely comes down to personal preference, but you may be surprised to learn that endurance riders and world tours often prefer saddles with little to no padding. This is because it offers more support for the sit bones and less chance of chafing. However, if you're just riding around town, you may prefer some more cushioning. Moving on from saddles to handlebars and grips. There are loads of reasons why you may feel discomfort in your hands, arms, and shoulders. If you ride a bike with flat handlebars like this one, there are loads of great ergonomic grips out there. They help spread the weight on your hands and relieve stress from nerves and joints. Also, make sure your flat handlebars aren't rotated too far forward or too far back, as this could also cause discomfort. There are usually markers on the handlebar to help you guide it into the correct position. Once you have your handlebars in the correct position, you can then set up your brake levers. Lever setup can often be down to personal preference, but what we found is having your brake lever in line with your wrist is a good place to start. From there, you can experiment with small adjustments up or down if you're still feeling some discomfort. As we've mentioned in other videos, if you have powerful disc brakes, you should be able to move the levers fairly far inbound, so you can do one finger operation like that. While having the right saddle type and height should make you pretty comfortable on your e-bike, if you're planning on going on longer rides, then you might want to think about investing in some padded shorts. Depending on the type you buy, these can be worn on their own or under another clothing item and help provide an extra layer of comfort during your ride. However, in our experience, most people won't need padded shorts for shorter rides like your commute. So there's our list. If you have any tips of your own, then don't forget to let us know in the comments. Finally, thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.